need to do. If you don't know, I'm a state certified driving instructor. I teach teens and adults. I've been teaching drivers ed about 23 years. So let's go ahead and get it. All states have road tests. They're going to be evaluating you in a series of things. These are some general examples that can help you pass your test. Let's go ahead and get it. You have to be able to turn your car and control it. Left turns are more dangerous than right turns. Why? You're turning across traffic and you have to yield for oncoming cars going by. So you want to get up to the middle of the intersection, not under the light, but just before that, so you can see cars coming across. When it's clear, yielding, you want to make that left turn, hand over hand, into the nearest lane that is by the double yellow. Always turn it to the nearest lane, keep your turn short. Your tester will look for you to check traffic left and right. They'll look for you to turn in your blinker at an appropriate time, which is very important. Also, they want to make sure you come to a complete stop behind the stop line. The stop line is a big, thick white line. You have to stop behind that line. Your front bumper can't go past the line. Then, once clear, you move forward up into the intersection and then you turn. Let's talk about right-hand turns. You want to turn your blinker on 100 feet or a half a city block before the designated turn. If you turn your blinker on too early, you're going to confuse other drivers behind you. If you turn it on too late, you could potentially get rear-ended. So it's about timing. You have to practice those lane changes. You have to practice making turns and turn that blinker at the proper time. If you're not practicing those fundamentals, don't go take your test. Let's continue. Turning. You've got to do your traffic checks. You've got to look left. You have to look right. You've got to check your mirror. A blinker is just an indication you want to turn. It's notifying other drivers, but a lot of drivers are not paying attention to blinkers. So you want to turn your blinker on early, turn it on often to let other motorists know, hey, I'm getting ready to turn. Are you yielding? Are you yielding to pedestrians? Are you behind the stop line? Are you past the stop line? And that could be a 1 point or 2 point deduction. Okay? Are you turning wide? A lot of beginning drivers turn too wide and they're going to make a really sharp, curvy turn into the outside lane. I've seen it before. And if you don't turn it to the nearest lane by the curb, you turn wide, a car making a left turn will hit you. And that is automatic failure. So we don't want you to make a wide turn. Keep your turn short and to the nearest lane. If you're making a right, that's to the curb lane. If you're making a left, that is by the double yellow. Your road testers and driving teachers will be looking for this. Are you checking traffic? Are you in the correct lane? You need to know where the car is going to go before you get there. I know it sounds a little odd, but you have to know what your car is doing before it gets into the lane where you're going, so you can anticipate people coming from a private drive, a gas station, a restaurant, a diner. People have to yield to us because we're on the main road, but sometimes people will just roll out. So you have to be that defensive driver. You have to anticipate pedestrians coming out, cars coming out. Yes, you're taking your test, but in reality, no one really cares you're taking your test. You won't have a sign on your car. It won't say road tester unless you've rented a car. So you have to be ready for those unpredictable things. Next, let's talk about acceleration. After you accelerate out of the turn, you want to accelerate smoothly, 15, 20, 25, 28. Some thoroughfares may be 35. You cannot go over the speed limit. Some thoroughfares may be 45. You want to get up to the nearest speed limit and get with the flow of traffic immediately. If you're having a problem, and I've had drivers hit the brake, the car stops instead of the gas, you're going to lose points because you're mixing up the gas and brake. And that is scary sometimes because the car just stops and you're in the middle of your turn and other cars are expecting you to accelerate through. So you need to know that you're making sure that you're accelerating through your turn and don't accidentally hit the gas or brake. We're talking about how do you pass your test? What are road testers looking for? What are driving testers looking for? If you're over 18, you're going to go to the to the Secretary of State, and you're going to get something called the TIP. That is your temporary instruction permit. This allows you to drive with someone over 21 years old. You're going to drive for about 30 days. Once you feel comfortable, parallel parking, angle parking, making 12 right-hand turns in the neighborhood, 12 left-hand turns in the neighborhood, merging on the expressway, checking that blind spot. If you feel comfortable and confident enough, then you need to go take your road test. If you're not sure yet, wait until you practice these theories so you can get them consistent. Let's talk about stopping at intersections. It may seem really easy, but you have to stop behind the stop line, the big, thick white line. You want to come to a complete stop. You want to look left, right, and left. Check the intersection. You do the eye movement. Once it's clear, once you've stopped, you proceed across, or you make your right turn with your blinker on and you looking left, right, left. Or if you're making a left turn, you stop, you proceed up, you yield to oncoming traffic, you do your verification checks, then you accelerate into the nearest lane. Intersections are big areas where accidents happen, pedestrians get hit and killed, and students fail. So we don't want that to happen to you. Accelerate through. If the speed limit is 25, you need to get up to 25. If it's 15, you need to be at 15 in a business area. You have to have your hands on the wheel. 10 and 2, 9 and 3, 12 and 2, 7 and 5. There's no absolute best way to turn your steering wheel. You're going to learn this from your parents. You're going to learn this from your instructor. Over time, you will develop your style. At the end of the day, you have to have your left hand on the left side, your right hand on the right side, and you have to have control. We know there's an airbag in the middle, and we're not trying to blow our thumbs off. In the United States, more than 55 to 65% of people turn hand over hand in and hand over hand out. I'm not saying completely cross your hands and have the airbag blow your thumbs off. I'm simply saying for right hand turns, parallel parking maneuvers, reversing into a driveway, hand over hand is the best. We're talking about cars. We're not talking about buses. We're not talking about semi trucks. We're not talking about box trucks. We're talking about automotive cars. They're going to ask you some questions. You're going to get some value here. If this is bringing you value, give it a thumbs up. They're going to ask you if you have to hit something, what should you hit? It's obviously a bush or something soft. You never want to hit a rock or a tree. They're also going to ask you, can you please turn on the radio or the heat or turn it off? They want to see if you're going to lose control and veer out of your lane. Residential areas, the speed limit is 25. I drive around 23, 22. You want to be at or near the speed limit in residential areas. They're looking to see, are you going to go over the speed limit? Are you going to have hazard awareness? Hazard awareness are pedestrians, little kids, dogs. You have to reduce your speed, and you want to start scanning, do your verification checks. Next, railroad crossings. Here's another pro tip. You have to yield. You have to look left and right and left just before you cross the railroad tracks. If you do not look left, right, and left, you're going to lose points. There are a lot of railroad crossings here in the United States that do not have active gates or warning lights. So you want to be aware of that, okay? They're actually going to ask you to also, do you have control of your vehicle? They want to see if you have control. So if you're drifting out of your lane, you're going to lose points. Keep your car centered. Here in the United States, our steering wheel is on the left. In the UK, Australia, the steering wheel is on the right. We talked about intersections during your traffic and verification checks at four-way stops. That is another area where students panic. Let's pretend I'm coming to an intersection. I want to stop. I look left, right, left. If it's clear, I proceed. Let's pretend I'm going up to the intersection again. I stop. There are 4 cars. The first car to get there is the first car to leave. If I'm the first car, I do my verifications. I look, I check, I make eye contact. I have to see you looking at the driver. If you're not sure, let the other person go by. If four cars come together at the same time, the car to the right of me has the right of way. The right of way can also be given. So if you're not sure the four-way stop, wave the other person by. Communicate that. Your tester will appreciate that more than you just blowing through a stop sign. So four-way stops are very important. I do have some videos on there, so look it up. If you're getting value right now, give it a thumbs up. So let's now talk about merging on the expressway. They have a route they're going to take you on. It takes about 30 minutes, 45 minutes. You're going to have a combination of right turns, left turns, residential driving, merging on expressway. What are they looking for a merge? They want to see you use your blinker, yield to oncoming traffic. On that ramp, we want to see you pick up speed. If the speed limit is 70 on the expressway, you got to go down the ramp about 25 to 30. Toward the middle bottom of the ramp, you've got to accelerate. It's called your acceleration lane. We want to see mirror, turn signal, blind spot. Say it with me again. Your mirror, your turn signal, and your blind spot. If you hold the wheel too long, you're going to turn the wheel and literally go out of your lane. You could cut off a car, and that could be grounds for failure. If you are in an at-fault accident or the tester has to turn the wheel to prevent you from having an accident, or you hit the curb, or you get scared and panic and abandon the merge. That's one of the worst things that you can do. So we want to see you get up to speed, accelerate up, mirror, turn signal, blind spot, get up to about 55 miles an hour, you're in the first lane. And then at the next exit, they will get you off. You're not going to be on there 15 or 20 minutes. We want to see you do a merge on, merge off, check the box, maybe one minus because you didn't check your blind spot on your first merge, but on the second merge, you did. Okay, so are you accelerating smoothly? Are you doing your traffic checks? Did you cancel your blinker or is it still on? They're not going to tell you, John, cancel your blinker. They're not going to say that. They're just going to give you a minus. Did you smoothly merge? Or are you jerking the wheel back and forth? That could be another minus. Did you signal and speed and have proper space? Are you right on top of cars tailgating? Are you too far behind, going too slow under the speed limit? That could be potentially another minus. They're going to have you make a lane change. Are you doing your traffic checks? Check your mirror, your center mirror, turn signal, blind spot. Signal, mirror, turn signal, blind spot. You have to be able to check your blind spots. Once you do that, that's good. Next, are you using control steering? Are you driving with one hand, making the car jerk? Are you putting your hand to the bottom? Are you putting your hands to the top, making the wheel small? Have your hands spread out. Let's talk about driving straight. Are you driving in your lane? Are you centered in your lane? A lot of beginners put themselves in the middle of the lane. Okay, the car will be over to the right, out of the lane. You want to have your car properly centered. The driver will be on the left side of the lane. The car will be centered. Okay, are you keeping a space cushion? Meaning, I call it have good speed, have a smile, and have good space. Speed, space, and smile. You want to have good speed to stay with the flow, but not going over. You want to have good space, that you have car lanes. It's a car lanes for every 10 miles an hour. And you want to be able to slow down properly. Are you tracking the vehicle properly? Are you looking down at the speedometer, just like I'm looking down? Are you looking at the white line to the right? I'm pretending there's a line to the right. Or are you looking ahead, looking at brake lights, looking at cars accelerating, looking at cars slowing down? Are you keeping your space? They will look for that. And it takes time, okay? Exiting the expressway. The speed on a ramp is 25. You're at 45 miles an hour. I'm going to mark you down. You potentially could fail because centrifugal force will pull you to the outside edge, so you'll have to overcorrect on your steering wheel. The rear of the car could spin out. That's happened to me before, and it's very scary because students are bringing too much speed off of the expressway onto a ramp. A ramp could be a short ramp where you're merging right up, off, You have to drop your speed immediately. It could be a long ramp where you're at 55, 45, 35, 25, and then you get right into that curve and the sign says 25 miles an hour. So you need to know what type of ramp are you on, okay? That's really important. And you're going to have some chevron alignment signs. They have a yellow background and they're like a check. And if it's to the left, you have a sharp curve going to the right. If it's to the right, you have a sharp curve going to the left. You need to understand what those signs mean because you could potentially fail or lose control because you have too much speed coming off the expressway. So that's another area where students struggle and fail. Did you cancel your signal? And if you canceled your signal, then you're going to show the tester, hey, I have great control in my car. If this is bringing you value, give it a thumbs up. I want you to understand you have to show that tester you know how to handle the vehicle. We're human. Next, let's talk about general driving habits. Mark through below the occurrences. So I'm going to give you this information. I'm a state certified driving instructor. If you have not, thank you for coming in. Let's go ahead and keep going. Are you looking at and managing your brakes, squeezing your brakes properly? Are you braking too early or too late? A lot of beginning drivers brake too late and then you have to slam the brakes. Or some drivers brake too early and a quarter of a mile, they're up where they should be. So you've got to learn timing. Timing is very important. Are you stopping unnecessarily? A lot of beginners ride the brake, ride the brake. The brake lights are on all the time. So you're confusing other drivers. They have a question mark. What are they doing? What are they doing? Are they stopping? Are they going? So you need to understand that don't ride your brake because you're going to wear out your brake pads. You're going to confuse other drivers. Next, are you having poor acceleration or pace? Beginning drivers tend to do that. And if you drive too slow and become a hazard, that could be grounds for termination. So you have to go at the posted speed limit that meets the needs of the environment. If the speed limit is 55 and you're going about 37, that might be too slow. Cars are coming up on you really fast, tailgating you, honking their horn, cutting you off, triggering road rage. I potentially could fail you, or you will get a lower grade because you're too slow for the speed limit. Are you using the improper clutch and improper gear? You should be in third gear, but you're in second gear. So when you shift, the car should be at about 3,200 RPMs. You're at 4,200 RPMs. I'm going to mark you down because you're in the wrong gear. And when you downshift, the car's going to jump back. So that shows me you don't have clutch control or speed control. Do you cancel your turn signal? Right? You're making a lane change. Your blinker's still on. I know you didn't turn it off. I'm waiting 3 seconds, 4 seconds. I'm saying to myself, are they going to turn off their blinker? Are they going to turn off their blinker? And you don't. So I mark it. I give you time to make that decision. Are you smoothly merging onto the exit? Are you carrying so much speed and you don't realize it? And if I have to tell you, you won't pass. So that's really important that you understand that. Timing. Do you brake early? Do you brake late? Or clutch control. If you're shifting into the wrong gear, let's say you shift to third gear, but you really should be in second. The car's going to lunge and kind of fall on its face. I'm going to mark you down for that because you are under speed and in the wrong gear. Okay. Do I have to tell you to put on your seatbelt? If I have to tell you to put on your seatbelt, you don't need to drive. You should always put on your seatbelt when you first get into the car. Then adjust your seats and adjust your mirror last. That is extremely important that you do that. Get into those positive habits. If this brought you value and you learned something today, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel. I want to say thank you and have a great day. Bye.